All right, hello and welcome to my Market Open live stream, Market Monk Picks on Twitter. And what I wanted to do today is just prepare you and myself for the trading day as much as I can. Just talk about what I'm looking at, what showed up in my sector notes yesterday, and I think I'll start today looking at those notes and going through some of what I had here. So I wrote these last night, and this was just based on some of the option flow that I was looking at as as the day came to a close, and you saw some of that in my closing live stream. And let's actually start here with consumer defensive. What a beat down. Walmart down here will be interesting. From what I can tell, 120 is the floor, but it could reverse sooner. So we're going to see if we're going to test that floor. And the reason we're going to see that is because Target did even worse than Walmart did. So so you see Walmart here already down to 129. You kind of bounced off this 128 level. With a drop this steep, their worst day since 1987. I'm inclined to wait a few days to let the dust settle on that, and see where we are. But as you can see, what happened with Target, down almost 25%. Probably will get down that far. Could flush even more at open. Really risky to try to play any kind of bounce down at these levels, but it certainly will recover, possibly more quickly than your typical growth stock. But this is just a result of an environment where inflation data is affecting these retailers negatively, whereas previously, just with the increased prices, they had seen some benefits. So that's kind of come full circle. Now, what you look at here in terms of sympathy, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and this is what I meant when I said that Target earnings would give us some clarity in the sector, and so we can see everything is falling, even though they didn't report, even though they didn't report earnings. So this is going to present some opportunities. You look at a stock like Dollar Tree that had been at all-time highs. Fairly recently, in late April, and now has given a lot of that up, and we can see its pre-market's already down here at 147, and we're going to see how well support holds down here. And then you have a stock like Costco is another one that had recently been at all-time highs, and double top right here, and then down. So how far is this going to fall? My on the technical analysis side, I try to keep it fairly simple, and just kind of look for some previous lows, previous points of resistance and things. So this 469 level stands out, and so in options, what I might look at on Costco is are whales in the 470s at all on this. And let me just let's take a look at cost. And there it is. All right, so 470p for 520. Not no huge volume there, but it is kind of interesting to me that number for a weekly would would pop up, and that whales would actually be buying something that far out of the money at that price. So this is going to do very well today, and I'd probably go a week further out, but that's kind of just me. Okay, so so is that level, and now now it's at 463, but is that level going to hold here, or are we going to go further down? I don't know. It's interesting. So you're kind of not used to, or I'm not used to, consumer defensive being the sector that's getting a beating, and yeah, Coke's doing okay. But you look at something like Kroger. Kroger's down, down more. Kroger last earnings had this huge beat and massive run up, and then went further, and then since mid-April has been declining. So so how far are these gonna fall back? That's where option flow kind of comes in, and these are trades on the upside. I mean, you can scalp these kind of quick bounces, but things are going to need to really settle for us to see any kind of sustained reversal on any of that. Okay, so let's take a look at some other flow here, and I want to go into the hot chains and tickers, and I just want to go sector by sector in comparison with my notes here. So basic materials, and I said I'd look for Alto to reverse, might be kind of a grind. X and CLF look primed. So what am I seeing with X and CLF? Doesn't mean they'll run today. Just means that I saw some some pretty good signs out of them. Okay, so let me see here. X, I'm seeing some activity out of the money contracts on X, and there was one. Get into the options dashboard, and basic materials. Go to the mid caps. Okay, so X 520.27 C caught my attention. 26C as well. The setup here on X. You can see, where it is on the chart here, that it's sold way off from these highs up in the up at like 38, and is back in this zone here, which was an area, it broke through, came back down, kind of broke through again, met some resistance up around here. A big dip into those earnings 2 earnings ago, and then it went on this massive uptrend. This is the last time I really caught X for a sustained move. I had some monthly contracts on that, and in some shares, and so I've been watching it sell off, and the sector overall has been struggling for a while now. But I'm thinking that there's going to be some opportunities for this to reverse now. You can see it had a pretty good day yesterday, and I'm kind of looking for that to continue. CLF is in a similar position. You can pretty much trade these kind of in parallel. Sometimes one does better than the other, but just even in terms of the daily RSI, you can see that when you get under 30, it doesn't really stay here very long historically. So there's some safety there. There's upside in scalping weekly contracts on this, but really for me, the steel stocks are more of a longer term swing. Is this the market environment to swing anything? I mean, I think that there's risk there. There's always risk, and the market's shown some positive signs. Even if we pull back today, I wouldn't read too much into it, as long as we don't just completely, give up what we did yesterday. But you buy yourself some time. I think that's one thing. And I'm speaking just for myself here. I look at contracts, maybe if I'm a little bit uncertain about the timing of a reversal, I'll just add a month to it. So I'll just go with July, maybe even August. Scale into some shares. What is my zone for scaling into something like CLF? I might go as low as 20 and just add there if this little reversal here fails and it wants to dip back down. But it's one of those. So it's a stock in a sector where patience will be rewarded, and when it gets on an uptrend, it does tend to sustain that for quite a while, and it gives you an opportunity to get out with some good profits. So even back here, as as it fell, or here, I mean, even this is a nice move. You don't have to catch just the full monster move here. And in fact, if I had been in this, I'd be scaling out kind of on the way up here, and then maybe there's a secondary entry here for some shorter term stuff. It just depends on how well you know the stock, how closely you follow it. But X and CLF stand out to me today, and my early week picks for the sector were AA and LAC, and both of those have done very well. Still look pretty good. Could definitely pull back today. Maybe not the best time to enter. Okay, so that's kind of basic materials. What I'm seeing, looking into, go back to hot chains and communication services. If we get a kind of full market pullback in communication services, that certainly could impact some things here, and some of the bullish setups might be a little bit on hold. But one thing to consider is, if we do get a flush at open, and then the indices start to show some signs of life, and some of these stocks will kind of find a bottom, and you can catch a reversal on that. And there's nothing wrong in trading options with taking something from -3% to -1.5%. That's a successful trade. So it's they don't have to go just euphoric parabolic. You can get in and get your percentage just fine. So good example of that yesterday, because I'm seeing Snap pull up here a lot. So Snap, like a lot of tech stocks yesterday, had this nice pre-market run, spiked it open for 15 minutes or so, and then had a significant and steep sell-off. And you can see this is something to look for. When a stock tests a pre-market low, or well, I guess in this case, pre-market after hours low, when it tests that and doesn't break below it, that is a good sign that you can catch a reversal. And especially, this is where my approach comes in. If I know the flow on something is bullish, and even as it's selling off, I'll be in the live flow, and I'll see, is anybody buying the dip on Snap here? Is this or is this just going to spike and fizzle? And they did, and they bought the dip in it and reversed it. And this pattern here is a significant change from what we have been seeing for about the last 6 weeks, which is stocks would sometimes spike it open and then just give it all up, and you would have a trend day just straight down after that. So let's go back here on Snap to May 11th, you can see that this is what I'm talking about. It's it had this attempt pre-market to do something, gave that up, did recover into the morning session, and once we're in about 45 minutes into the market, it just all sold off and gave you a lot of fake outs. But again, the pre-market low, if you were to look for it to bounce off that pre-market low, it in fact tried a couple times to do that. And even on, I mean, this is a 3-minute chart, so even on these attempts here, you see it, kind of dipping here to this pre-market low. If you wanted to try to catch a reversal on it, you could, and you do have a chance to get out with a little profit on it. You got to be kind of quick, but and then it gave that up, and this is a situation where you got to be really careful about not letting a green trade turn red. And again, hindsight 2020. So like today, or I'm sorry, not today, yesterday. Get back in here. Yeah. All right. So yesterday it tested that pre-market low and started to move. You still have to be very careful with your profits. There was nothing set in stone as you're watching this chart, as you're in this trade, to say that this wouldn't make an attempt here and then fail and fall further down. Very easily could happen. So this is where managing your position is so crucial. That if you have one contract, you got to be careful about trying to just catch the full move. I think at the minimum you got to move your stop loss up as you go. If you have more than one, like let's say you have 5 contracts, you might. It's like, okay, all right, I caught the reversal. These candles are looking promising. You might even go to the 1-minute chart just to see exactly what's going on with the price movement. And I might just sell 2 of them very quickly. And then my stop loss is at entry or very slightly below it. And then smooth sailing, you can catch the move. RSI gets hot. Maybe you get out here. Maybe you leave a runner. And if you had left a runner, your stop loss is at entry or down around here. And you just see, okay, Powell's going to talk. This runner's free. Who cares? If it goes, it goes. If not, oh well. And then you did catch a nice move at the end, and that takes practice. It is not just intuitive. The a temptation in trading, and this is where a lot of people get into trouble, is that you see some green on something, and any green, and you sell it fast, and then the losers you keep too long. That's a bad, that should be the opposite. So it's just part of the trading psychology to work on. Okay, so anyway, so communication services. I do like Snap today if it actually, if the market wants to, kind of finish its little sell off here and turn around. If we just get a trend day straight down, I'll reassess and look at what they're buying on it today. The target shock to the market is probably going to discourage me from entering a lot of stuff early. I'm going to just kind of wait and see what happens. Okay, so yeah, so there, Snap is promising. You do see a lot of Twitter in here. If I want to adjust by small caps, see what's going on, and I mentioned Fubo and Vion in my notes, so we can take a look at what they're doing. All right, so Fubo's down, and giving up quite a bit of yesterday. Vion. Vion is a penny stock, and I like Vion just because it shows up in the flow a lot for a stock this cheap. So I'm kind of interested in what's going to happen here. Especially as you've seen, it fell all the way to 35, and myself and some of the people in my group did actually catch this move when it fell. And I actually, I first got interested in this stock when it had this steep decline under $1, and Bees, who I run this Discord room with, he encouraged me to wait and save me quite a bit of money on scaling into something. So it just kept falling, and once it was under 40 cents, it's like, okay, the risk reward is there for us now, and it made that move to 70. So I'm looking for another move to 70 cents. That's what I'm after with Vion, and I'm seeing enough flow picking up to be interested in that again. And let's see here. Oh, and then on Fubo, Fubo has a pretty good flow setup every day, even as it's sold off, and would not be surprised at all for it to consolidate around this zone for a bit. But a reasonable target for it, if you have some patience, definitely is a $4.50 to $5. Once it gets going, I don't think it'll have much trouble reclaiming that. And and in long term, I would say 8 to 10. I mean, the company is they're either going to get acquired, or they're going to start to turn around with the market, or they're just going to fail completely. And that last scenario, just in my research on it, just seems like the least likely scenario. So I think that this is a stock that will recover, and with it at these levels, you don't even need any kind of massive recovery. So if we're going to sell off today, let's just see what happens. I just keep hitting this stock for trades of 8 to 15% over and over again lately, and I think this is certainly a way you can play it. I don't play options on this particular stock, but you can. It does work well for shares, though. All right, so let's. I talked about consumer defensive already. I want to jump over to energy, and let's see, with these market conditions of wanting to turn red today, what energy's doing. It's been a great week for oil. Great month for oil. You can see Oxy up again, pre-market, and had kind of a quiet day yesterday, and kind of toyed around with this level here at like 68, and so if I could catch any kind of flush at open on Oxy, I'd definitely be interested in that. Devon is one that has had a lot of good flow to it. Go to all. And so, yeah, you see a lot of Oxy, a lot of very aggressively bullish contracts on Oxy. 85C, I'm not surprised that call is bearish. That's way out of the money. So that's not really surprising to me. And some of the more do you see some bearish contracts on Oxy as well? I mean, it's run very hard, so not entirely surprised there. Devon is one I mentioned that also has a lot of potential. So we can see 520 75 on Devon. Not out of the realm of the possibility that that ends up in the money. Here's another one on Oxy, 617.75. A lot of volume on this, adding to that open interest. Smaller cap, rig. I've been looking at rig quite a bit. And yeah, so you can see rig. So I would say if I'm wanting to play calls on stuff, oil definitely is looking promising. I've been on uranium for several weeks now, talking about the potential for a reversal there, and this is selling off a little bit pre-market. I had a great day yesterday. I'm looking in uranium for the overall trend to stay intact. And when I say that, we had this big dip here. So so is this uptrend going to continue? I'm looking for CCJ to get into this 26 to 28 level, and from there, if whales want to push it, it's going to test these recent highs. And uranium, a little bit like steel and certainly oil, has these sustained uptrends. When the RSI on the daily chart dips below 30, it doesn't tend to stay there that long. So if you just buy yourself some time on it, scale into some longer term things, you can usually do pretty well on a stock like CCJ. And you're not quite in this sector as subject to market volatility to the extent that you are. Like if you tried to swing Roblox or something, you might have a difficult time with that, because it has been recovering, but it'll just give a lot of it back the next day. You don't typically see that with something like CCJ. So if you can grab a good entry, and we're in that, we're still in that area where entries are pretty good, then I think you can actually have a lot of success with something like CCJ. Okay, so that's energy, and got about 5 minutes left before I'm gonna wrap things up. I do want to get into, let's talk about technology and what I'm seeing here. So as I mentioned before, when you use something like hot chains and you just say technology, it's just going to all be Apple, AMD, Nvidia, and the whole list here. So so if you trade those, I mean that can be useful. Apple flow's a little tricky just because the volume's almost too high on it to get a good read, for me anyway. But as you go through some of the smaller caps, and Vuzi actually is one in my pre-market stream that caught my attention yesterday, and let's see how that did. 20%. So sometimes my casual mentions on these do actually end up doing something. So that's a nice move, and we'll see if that actually wants to continue or not. There is some flow being added to it. Probably might pull back today, just given what I'm seeing early on. But that could change. I mean, a pre-market or a sell-off right at open, not necessarily the worst thing. Could lead to a quick bounce as stuff gets oversold. So we could look at that. Almost made it through without my light going off. So, okay, there we go. And so we'll get into the mid caps in technology. Let's see what's cooking there. Thinking about it. Well, as I wait for that list to come up, just in terms of the tickers, and some of these did show up in my notes. So you can look at Hood and Affirm. Some volume dropped on Affirm overall, so a lot of people were getting out on that. Now MQ, take a look at this. The call volume on it up almost 1,000%. So what's going on with MQ? Yeah, up 586. We can see here what I'd look for with MQ is for some confirmation that it can get back in this channel here. This you can see this $12 level, and basically from not $9 to $12, dip back under 9 today. So is this gonna fail here, or can we kind of defend that territory? So if I were looking at MQ intraday, I would want to see sold puts at 9 and sold puts at 8, and calls from 10 to 12 over the next couple of weeks. If that is the dominant setup in the option flow, then I'd have some optimism of looking to enter that. I mean, you can scalp almost anything, but just in terms of actually getting into a trend with MQ, I'm after this channel. This is what I want, and if it breaks 12 and wants to get back up into this 15 18, I mean, that's great. That's a massive move, over 100% from where we are. But as a day trader, focused on the here and now, that this zone is enough. 9 to 12 is great, and if it could get back into that, then you'll just have trades that you can just keep hitting over and over, as it tests and pulls back, and then you just do it again. So everyone should, I think, have some stocks like that where they just keep kind of hitting it over and over again. Okay, so just to wrap up, the we're going to see what the target earnings failure does. It's going to definitely impact, and has impacted, the consumer defensive sector. Its overall market impact kind of remains to be seen. We probably get some selling at open, I would anticipate. Energy is a space to look that could be somewhat immune from that. So if you're wanting to be a bull today, that might be a place to look. And basic materials, I want to see how that reacts as well. I'm looking to enter a swing on X and potentially CLF in the near future too. Okay, so thank you for attending, and I will be back on for a market closing live stream. I have some separate videos I'm working on too. Got one on the dark pool that I've been researching for almost a month. Dark pool is kind of complicated, but I'm going to try to break that down as simply as I can, and that's always my approach. So good luck trading today. Take care, and those of you in Discord, I'll see you in the room, and on Twitter, hit me up anytime at Market Monk Picks. Discord link in bio, and be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all this afternoon.